Day 854, being Christopher Cruz. Just got home. It's 5 o'clock at night. Just got back from the funeral service. Yeah, it was just, God gave me a lot out of that. It's crazy because I got there and I was part of like the usher team. And one of the girls that was part of it, she was like, "Oh, can you help me? I need to go to Costco and get a bunch of waters and ice, and I need someone who can like lift it all up." And I felt like resistant, like, I don't want to go do that. I just got here. But they had everything else like being worked on. And so I was like, okay. And I like just surrendered. And I just felt like God's going to do something with this. Like there's no accident here. And then we're driving, and I've never had a conversation with her before. She was, I've seen her at church like a few times, but she was just giving me so much wisdom about people on their own journey to God, and you don't have to control it. You don't have to expedite it. Like the Holy Spirit's going to lead them to God. And, I was talking about some people that I really care about, that I love, where it's just like, it's frustrating. And she was just like, yeah, just the Holy Spirit's going to take care of them. The Holy Spirit's got them. It's not your responsibility. It's not your job. And everyone's on their own journey. And everyone, like a lot of people have their own trauma, and the Holy Spirit's going to work on their heart to heal that trauma so they can have a relationship with Jesus. And it was just like, wow. And she's like, yeah, you just have to let go. Like you really have to let go and just trust God. She said, you really have to let go and let God. That's what it's all about. And she's like, because you have a life in front of you that God has planned, and they have a life in front of them that God has planned. And if you don't let go, you're stopping both of you from living into that. And I was like, wow. I was just like, this is crazy. She says, I'm sorry, I don't know if like any of this resonates with you. God's just giving me this. I was like, no, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And it was just, yeah, it was amazing. And so we get back to church, and then there's a bunch of people from my church, and one of the pastors who's at the San Diego location, he was outside, and I was talking to him, and he was just talking about like loving people. I told him, I launch Warriors of God, and like it's great. And I've just never felt so much love for people. And he was like, bro, that's what discipling is. It's just loving them through everything, like loving them exactly where they're at, and just loving them and loving them and loving them. And it was so powerful. And he was like, you just need to love them, and you need that vulnerability to share where you're at, so you can see, so they could see that you're on the journey with them, and it keeps you humble. That humility is so powerful. And he was giving me so much amazing wisdom, and I was just like blown away. And then I go into the service, and there's probably like 300 people there, and they're all talking about his life, and he beat cancer and all these other things. Like 6 times the doctor said he was going to die, and he's like, nope, I don't receive that. I don't accept that. Jesus will heal me. And he did. Like, and he was like a miracle. He was a medical miracle, like 6 or 7 times. And it was just like, wow, I didn't know he had that much faith. Like, they were telling stories, and and it was incredible. And then our pastor got up, and he was like, look at all these people in the room that he's impacted. Not a lot of people have that big of an impact with their lives. And it just made me think, like, man, when I die, like, it's all about how many people I've impacted. Like, how many people will I impact in this life? Like, that's what actually really, really matters, is when you pass away, how many people did you touch in your life that really made an impact? And it was just like, man, I got a lot of awesome work to do. So that made me just feel really inspired and motivated. And I was talking to someone about Warriors of God, and They're asking like, how's it going? How does it work? And I was just so lit up. She's like, yeah, I could tell you really love it. And I was like, yeah, I do. Um, and it was just, yeah, it was just a really good experience. So I'm super grateful. Yeah, it's like God has just given me a lot of messages and confirmation, and yeah, I just feel very blessed. So good stuff.